let's talk about an option that I think a lot of people may not be fully aware of, which is called the fill handle, and it's one of the most useful options in Excel, and I want to make sure that you know all about it. Hi, I'm Michelle, a computer coach here sharing tips and tricks on your everyday software to make life that little bit easier. And today's one really does make life a lot easier. So, hopefully we're all aware that you can always write a formula. So I'm just going to do a really simple one, 1 plus 2. Okay, I'm just using my keyboard to pick everything up. And we know that if you need it across the spreadsheet, you can copy and paste it. So all you do is you select it, you use whichever copy command you prefer, and then you paste it. And that's really nice and easy. What happens if you don't really remember or want to use the shortcut keys or the buttons? That's where the fill handle comes in. So first thing we need to do is to find the handle. When you click on a cell, you can see that we get a darker line around it to show us that that cell is the one that's selected, especially as they all look the same. If you look closely, you'll see that the bottom right-hand corner actually is a little black square. It might be a slightly different shade depending on your screen, but let's go with black. When you move your mouse onto that black square, it changes to be a black thin cross. That's the fill handle. So, how do we use it? Well, the easiest option, and I'm going to delete these, is to just select the cell that you want. On the corner, we're going to click, hold, and drag, and you can do it as much as you want. And you'll see it copies that formula down. If I type some text in, I can do the exact same thing, select the cell, find the fill handle, and click and drag it. So if I say hello again, with the fill handle I can drag it up and down. I've let go and I can drag it left or right. What I can't do is drag it diagonally. And you can see that a simple click and drag copies whatever information is in that cell. And that is such a useful and powerful tool. However, there's a few extra things that you can do. So you might remember these puzzles. What's the next number in the sequence? Well, actually, if you've got Excel, you can get it to do this. So let's create a simple sequence. I'm going to do 2, 4, 6, 8. Really appreciate. You don't actually need to do that many. You need to do a minimum of 2. But if I highlight all of that first and now use the fill handle, you can see it's following that pattern that I've created and filling the rest in. So let me do that again. I'm going to do 1 and 5. Let's select just those 2 cells and I'm dragging it down. And you can see it's actually worked out that there's 4 between it. So let's do 5 and 10, which actually gets me the 5. And now I can do all of those. So I can use this to create a pattern of whatever I want. What else can I do with it? One of my favorite options is when you've got a load of information. So I'm going to use one of the commands that I've done in a previous video. If you want, I'll have it linked in an iCard above and in the description below. So I'm just going to create some information. What's around times 100. Let's tidy this up. Numbers, because I don't want them to keep changing. It's just right, now that I've got some information, I'm going to write a quick formula again. So I'm just going to add these 2 cells up. Now I can, as I've already shown, click and drag. But what happens if you've actually got a lot of information? It's a lot of scrolling. Well, you can find the fill handle again. This time, while you're on the fill handle, you're actually going to double left click. Now this will work as long as there is information next to it. So if I go over here and I write the formula again, actually I'm going to do a sum to add everything up. And you can see if I double click, which you can see it's doing at the bottom, nothing's happening. That's because it doesn't understand where their information is and how long it should go. And that's because there's a gap between the formula that I've written and the actual information. It doesn't matter if the information is to the left or to the right, or even both sides, which is really useful, as long as the information in a column next to it, that double click will work. Sadly, the double click option only works down a column, but let's be honest, it's what we use quite a lot, so that becomes really useful. I hope that you will use the fill handle because it's something that I use all the time and it's one of the most useful Excel commands. Please give the video a thumbs up. It really does help my channel. And remember, if you'd like to be told as more computer tips and tricks are released, then click that subscribe button and the notification bell. I'll see you in the next video.